Living life, it's your time to shine. Laugh a little louder, let's leave the rules behind. Real talk, real stories with every episode we find. Let's get golden on Golden Living Life.
Oops. Hey, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for a little bit of a glitch there. Hi, good morning. This is Kathy Tarchione and Dr. Tom Myers. I want to thank you for coming to the Golden Living Live show. We are very, very excited to have Tom involved with us. We've been working on a project for almost 3 years now, right, Tom? Good morning to you.
Yeah, going on 3 years. Good morning. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kathy, and thank you for having me.
Today we're going to be talking about the Golden Genius Assessment. Now, what is the Golden Genius Assessment? I'm going to let Tom explain what it is, and then I'm going to explain to you why it was so important to us and our golden babes and our golden connection and everything that has been evolved over the last 3 years, why we did it. But first, I want him to explain to you what it is that the Golden Genius Assessment is. Okay,
Yeah,
Tom.
thank you. Thank you, Kathy, for having me. And yeah, so this is something, it started with my work in the understanding of Carl Jung's theory of synchronicity and how we interact with the world and how specific people and resources come to us at the right time. And these are kind of meaningful coincidences. So it started kind of there in the beginning. And I understood that, well, how we have an understanding of interacting with synchronicity in our lives and how we bring those incredible benefits and opportunities and meaningful coincidences to us may not work as a one type of application for people, and that everyone's personality and strengths can be better suited to tap into synchronicity when you create that environment. So I backed up, and I had done a lot of work throughout my career and as a business professor in psychology and leadership within the business schools, and understood you really have to start with who you are and your strengths. And again, as I said earlier, one size does not fit all. So how we interact with people, how we communicate, how we see the world, how we access opportunities in the world is not all the same. And you can feel like a fish out of water if you're in an environment that your personality and your strengths just doesn't fit. And I know from experience in working in these jobs throughout my life that there are things that I'm naturally strong and have a lot of energy to do. I have my natural abilities. And then there are those things that we all, and everyone has this, you have to work really hard, and it's just not enjoyable. And you're working in these jobs where the application of your personality and strengths just is a mismatch, and it can be miserable. So backing up and applying with the different assessments that I do, which the Golden Genius incorporates of your personality and your strengths, I did this with all of my students in the beginning of their college career. That would then help them to better navigate and better understand fitting their strengths and personality within their academic goals and then onto a career. So they're coming out of college having a pretty darn good idea about the career that they want to focus on because it suits them, their personality, their strengths at the highest level. So what we're doing with the Golden Genius and how, Golden Genius is basically kind of a connection to the natural genius that we all share, which is what we're imbued with in our lives with our personality and our strengths. And then the third step is then how that interacts with the universe, i.e. synchronicity, so you can tap in to get better, have better access and better, I guess, a better understanding so you can create more fulfillment and meaning. And I think it's a travesty, we're fortunate to be able to do this, but that so many people go through life really not understanding who they are and their strengths, and then how to apply those. So with the Golden Genius Assessment, we're looking at women 55 plus who can then maybe have never understood who they are, and now's the time to better understand that and then put that into an action plan going forward. So
What a
hopefully
great,
that
yeah,
clearly described it.
what a great segue. Well, I want to explain to everybody that I first met Tom, I saw him on the Mel Robbins show, and I just love Mel Robbins. And he was talking about synchronicities and about the building this mental strength. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I got to contact this guy. So I contacted you, and that's where the ball. I'm not sure how long ago that was, but it was almost.
December of 22, I think.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Around there, yeah.
So it'll be 3 years in December then that I contacted you. So um, the whole purpose of wanting to contact him is because he hit when he said synchronicities. I started thinking to myself, there's so many manifestations that were going on in my life at that time, and I was so grateful for it. And when you were on Mel's show and you were focusing on that, I thought that's a unique approach. Not everybody is doing that. And then I saw that you were doing a personality assessment, and then, of course, this Golden Genius Strength assessment. And I thought, okay, we have to have this for our golden babes, because if we don't have this, we're not going to go anywhere. And why is that? Because if you don't have a benchmark when you're going into any kind of self-improvement or any type of acknowledgement of yourself, you don't know how to measure that. So what I did, folks, is we had the entire team take the test, take the assessments, I should say, not the test, the assessments. And after we were all done, Dr. Tom was kind enough to be able to meet with all of us. Now, the thing that I thought was very, very unique on this is you can go ahead and you can take an assessment. Then you get a piece of paper. It tells you what the end of it is, and that's it. It goes into a drawer, and then you're done with it. But in this case, Tom met with us, and we were able to assess who had certain strengths that would complement each other. And it was amazing what happened with the team, because we started relying on each other and we started doing things together. And in particular, there was my brother is very analytical, and we did not realize that he had such strengths that he had in financial assessments and things like that. And we started relying on him, and that allowed him to become much more involved and actively involved in the organization. So that was just a fabulous thing. So when we started putting this all together, we looked at what are the things that are missing. And the things that were missing were an ongoing relationship, because you have this wonderful report. You go ahead and you're going to spend like almost $400 to get this assessment, but it's not just for the assessment. It's for the follow-up and for being able to meet with other people to help develop your strengths. And when you start doing that, all of a sudden you realize, I didn't even know that I had these abilities. I didn't even know that I could do some of these things. So it became very clear that we needed to have mind mentors. We needed to have people that wanted to be able to continue with being part of this entire Golden Genius process. Now, how does this all start? Well, it starts with our Golden Connections. I think all of you know that the Golden Life community has a virtual community, and it's called the Golden Connections. The Golden Genius Assessment is a premium plan that's available through the Golden Connections. And the Golden Connections right now is a complimentary membership for women who qualify as Golden Babes. And what is a Golden Babe? Well, you're looking at one. I'm a Golden Babe because I'm sassy. I'm over 55. No matter what comes my way, I'm able to tackle it, always in a positive mood, a smile, and ready to help another person. So if you're a Golden Babe and this is you, then we want you to be part of this. So Tom, now we're going to go through and look at a couple of the components here. Let's look at what the strength scope looks like, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You might
So
explain what this is. What is this going
exactly.
to do?
So this is the next. There are three steps. So let's focus on the strengths right now. The first is your personality, and that you're born with a certain personality. And I use a Myers-Briggs strength or Myers-Briggs type personality um, preference. That when we wake up in the morning, this is who we are. When we can try to be someone we're not. Are we? Do we get our energy from outside or from within? How do we take in information? How do we make decisions? And how do we organize our day? So that's kind of the first step. And a lot of folks kind of know we're really comfortable with who they are and their personality and understand what creates the energy and what creates the drive and motivation for you. The next step, so that's how we start with this basis, and we bring your personality and your strengths together. And then the third step we'll talk about in a minute is how you interact with the world with those personalities and strengths, or your golden genius. So this is what we call, and we use again, the assessment is called Strength Scope. Um, it's the only strength-based assessment that's certified by the British Psychological Society. It's a gold standard, extensive levels of research, many years of validating, testing, validating, and retesting over and over again. And what the coefficiencies of when you start it to and do it again, they're going to be pretty tight. You're not going to be changing a lot that way. So it is also, when I work with folks, I ask that, well, first of all, you can feel it. It's one of those assessments where you feel, because it is the combination of your intrinsic motivation, what motivates you internally, and it's dovetailing with the your interest and talents and skills. So bring those two together. So when I initially ask people what they think, they come back saying, "Yeah, I know it," because we all know what it's like when we're doing something that we are energized by, we're engaged with. We talk about going into that flow state where things just kind of come easily to us. We lose sense of time and lose sense of self. So it's creating those those times when you are more engaged because of your strengths and you're using these strengths, and you understand, well, there are things that don't motivate me as much, that you can see. We don't call them a weakness ever. Everything is strength based and strength focused. Um, you understand those areas that, yeah, I gotta spend a little more time doing this, but it drains me. I don't enjoy that. So we work with the Golden Community team. We understood the strengths that everyone has and how we can complement. And when we work with teams, and I've done a lot of work with teams and organizations, is how can we complement each other's strengths? So those things that drain you, are a strength to me, and vice versa. So you feel it. That's the thing with the strength scope, is you feel it. It is not competency based. And Kathy, can you bring up the wheel again? Because that's essentially the main one of the main points. And
This is my wheel, by the way.
yes,
This is me. And when I looked at it, I couldn't believe some of the areas that I'm strong in. And I thought, you know what, I am. But look at, I don't know if you can see the small little lines. Those are those are the areas where I have struggles with, but we don't even think about that. We don't go into that. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
exactly.
Tom.
Yeah. So that we look at the significant
I
seven,
lost
and
you.
oh,
Oh,
those are the strengths that we have, the longer bars. So and again, this is not competency based. This is not what you're good or bad at doing. No, it just shows you, of the 24 available strengths, these are the ones, the top 7 that rise to the top. And the other blue bars you see are almost as long. So you can see those as bubbling up strengths. So if we look at the shorter bars we see, and can look at emotional control. So if Kathy has to not hide, has to spend all her time hiding her feelings, that is a drainer. with Kathy, what you see is what you get. Your emotions are on the forefront. If you are trying to be austere and hide your feelings all the time, well, you can do that for a while, but it's going to drain you, and you're ultimately not going to be able to stay in that mode. So we look at where are your strengths, so these top 7 strengths, and then let's really dial into that. Be it your relationships with friends and family, your vocation, your work, your hobbies, your interests, your travel. How do we use those strengths to best suit your activities? And can you hear me, Kathy? I'm not hearing you. Oh,
Can you hear me now?
yes. Hey, we go. Hey,
Okay.
perfectly.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. That's all we needed is to
Could you hear
lose.
me? But you
Although,
could hear me.
yeah,
You
I can hear you, but although maybe there's sometimes when I should shut my mouth, I guess. Huh? So, all right. I was
There's
going to say
a technological, yeah, technology signal there, right?
the thing that I thought was very, very interesting that you had mentioned to all of the group was that there's nothing that you have to improve on this. It's not like you're identifying, well, here's your weaknesses and these are the things you've got to improve on. It is just what it is. These are strengths and they're at different levels. And if you can complement different strengths with other people, and you can complement the same strengths to really excel, to co-create, to collaborate, to do things, then that's where the magic enters into it. Because when you have two people that have strong strengths in the same area, and let's say you decided you want to co-create and write a book together, you have certain synchronicities that match, you have mental strengths that match, you have personalities that match, and then there's no stopping you. So having this as a benchmark when you're going into, like I said, the self-improvement, this is a fabulous thing as far as I'm concerned. The thing that I found was really, really beneficial to everyone in the group was it's very action oriented afterwards because you want to do something. Now you've got this tool in your hand, and if you don't have an outlet to be able to use it, what good is it? Like I said, you put it in the drawer. So I see a lot of people saying, oh, they have all these assessments. They're all over the place. You can get one. You can get one for free on such and such, and you can get one here. And we understand that, but that's not what this is. These are assessments that have teeth to it because we come up with the follow up. And what Tom does, which I think is really, really good, and I'm going to show this right now because before he even has you take the assessment, he wants to know who you are and let you know what's going on. So you're going to do a 15-minute conversation with him on Zoom before you even take it. So the way it works is this. You come into the golden assessment. This is how it works here. You're going to build your mental strength, your personality insights, and your synchronicity awareness. Then there's that handsome guy. And how it works. First, you're going to fill out a registration form. And what this does is it gives Tom an opportunity, again, to have information on you. And when you go into that registration form, you will automatically be asked to book a call with him. And this is a 15-minute call. And then once you're done with that, then he will send you a link and then you will go to complete that assessment. Now there's 3 different assessments that you'll be taking. So you'll have 3 different links. Once you are done with that and the assessments come back, then Tom will create a portfolio that is available that you'll have. And with that portfolio, you'll have a 45-minute meeting with him to go over the details. And then when you join the Golden Connections, if you haven't already, we would hope that you would have already joined before you even came into it. But if you haven't, you can go ahead and join. You'll be able to come in and you will get group meetings to align with other Golden Babes in the Golden Connections. Here's a sample form. Now this download your full sample report isn't available yet, so go ahead and I mean it's not available, but it will be. And then you become your own advocate. And then what you'll discover is you'll reclaim your power. You'll build confidence. You'll find your tribe, so to speak, and you'll discover your purpose. You'll be able to speak your truth, and you'll build mental strength. And that's where it goes. And then you come down here, and the cost for the assessment and all of the amenities that go along with it is $380. And when you click that begin, it will bring you right over to book a call with Dr. Tom, and then the process goes there. So understand that it's a 3-step process, but it's all in one.
Yeah,
So
and I think
Tom,
the one thing I love to talk about is that this is for your both professional and personal lives. You can, in any application, many times we do assessments that are very work-based. Okay, we're going to get our work team together, we're going to do an assessment, how we can work better together, but it may not apply or transfer to your personal life. So what's important with this assessment, it's really overarching and covers all aspects of your life. And I think the thing I love to talk about is, there are 8.2 billion people in this world. 8.2. So what our discussions today and our discussions going forward with the assessments, it highlights how unique everyone is. And there are no two people alike, with the combination of the personality, your strengths, and then the synchronicity piece. So the portfolio that Kathy was talking about, which is a 17-page document with your assessments and how they all come together, that is, you are the only person in the world who has these unique strengths. And I think that's something that's very empowering, especially in this day and age when we can face a lot of FOMO and a lot of social media pressures and what we should be doing with our lives to make a more purpose and more meaning. Well, this kind of starts you on a track, like, you are very special. You have a lot of opportunities to create a fulfilling, meaningful life for yourself and for others. So it's, I think, a really, I know it's a very empowering tool. And I'll go back to the first 15 minutes. I found that it's great to have an introduction. I can explain the process. So the 3 assessments, and I think the 3 assessments you do, each one is probably under 20 minutes to complete, very easy. And I will then gather those and create your personal portfolio, and then to follow up 45-minute meeting one-on-one, again, to go through that, answer questions, hear your perspective, and then come together with some next steps for a plan, and then helps the segue into the golden membership with the mentors and other support there. So a quick overview of the process.
Let's see here. Oh, Jelly Beth goes, yay.
And I think the thing, with strengths and personality, I ask folks, like, how does it feel when you feel you're the expert in something, or someone looks at you and knows that you have the very strongest area of strength in this one area that I need help? And so when we love, as human beings, love to be connected, we also really pride and creates a heck of a lot of confidence and self-esteem when someone comes to us and say, Kathy, I know that you are the very best at this. I need help. Can you help me write this? Can you help me craft this? Can you help put me in contact with people who could help with this too? Because this maybe is one of the areas that drains me. And so we all feel really excited and proud of who we are, because people see us as the if you will, the expert, and I need your help to help me with this. I see your strengths, and when we can lean into those strengths, use those strengths, it's really a very, it's an empowering and
I was
easy
just going to say,
application.
it is so empowering, Tom, because what it does is in my case in particular, it really gave me a feeling of I'm qualified. I'm qualified to give because I have these strengths, unbeknownst to me that I had them before I even took the assessment.
Sure.
Once I found out that I did, I thought, oh boy, look out. Now I can definitely say that based on these assessments, I know who I am and where I'm strong in. And I can remember, I don't know if you remember, Dr. Angelica was very, very good because she had a strength to be able to calm me down.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't even know this. And then when we took the assessment, I would go to her. She was my go-to person whenever I would get upset. And within seconds, she would just go like this to me, and I would calm down. And I didn't know that beforehand. And that's the power of being able to have the knowledge of what strengths you have.
Yeah, and you're not guessing. Like, I think I'm good at this. I've always been okay, you know.
And you're not bragging. You're not
Right.
bragging because
Right.
it's a reality. And you're not puffing because it's not. It's a total reality. And in the areas, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you do the assessment, that people say, oh, well, I change a lot. If I do strength assessment in 2025 and I do it in 2028, what's going to change? And what they found is that over time, you might lean into and be better cognizant of your strengths and more understanding and of your drainers. So your wheel that we talked about, those bars on the purple bars, your top 7, significant 7, may get longer, and those areas of drainers, the blue bars, may even get shorter. So specifically, the number of strengths that you have may not change very much at all, but the areas of focus may change. They won't, specifically strengths won't change, but those intensities will change.
Well, Tom, the thing that I wanted to touch on at the end here is, as you know, we developed the Golden Connections for the purpose of helping women to build mental strength so they can become their own self-advocates. The entire organization is built on my own personal experiences. Living in my 79th year, being homebound, being tethered to oxygen, to having major health problems, I have taken these last 4 years in developing my own mental strengths through what we call the Golden Method. And it's these are tools and techniques that I've personalized for myself that we share. And what the whole purpose is I don't think that right now everybody is understanding the importance of mental strength in terms of depression, anxiety, loneliness, isolation. And some people love to be isolated. I know some that do. But right now, the way that I see it is when somebody has these issues, they don't want to get up and go out. They don't want to participate. They want to become a recluse. They go into a shell. And if they identify that they have these, they'll either make an appointment with a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist, and they may be put on medications of some kind that will help them cope with what is going on. What our hope is that by offering these assessments, by offering the opportunity to have a membership where you have a peer-to-peer relationship with women who share the same focus as you do, that you won't need to have that medication. Now, that's going to take away from people like you, Tom, who is a psychologist, but I know you understand that this is a tool that acts as an addition to something you can continue to use and you can give to your patients, an assessment as well as connection, as well as participation, so that in the event you're not available, they have something to fall back on. because they have nothing to fall back on right now. I mean, here's a scary thing right now, Tom. I'm in Las Cruces, New Mexico. The governor changed the laws on malpractice insurance. Over 300 physicians have left New Mexico now because of that, without any replacements available, and no doctors are taking on any new patients. So I've lost my primary care, my cardiologist, and my rheumatologist. I don't have an option to get anyone. It's very, very sad what's happening. The same thing is happening with a therapist in terms of mental health. The insurance companies are doing different criteria, and they're not meeting the needs, particularly of older women and older men. They're not meeting the needs of them. So this assessment is important. I would love for you to touch on the importance of mental strength.
Yeah, thanks for that intro on that piece too. I think, so many of us have gone through lives and our lives maybe not fully understanding who we are, our personality and our strengths. And you can go through life being misaligned. Someone whose personality is, again, where you get your energy, introverted, extroverted. Do you get your energy from within, or do you get your energy extroverted from outside people and other things? That when you can better understand who you are, along with your strengths, it gives you a lot more agency and a lot more ownership of who you are. And it may answer some questions as to why I have a difficult time being by myself. Someone who's extroverted, I need to be with other things, other people. I get my energy from outside sources. So when I am by myself for too long, it drains me, and other things I can really not feel good. So at least I know I got to get out. I got to go out and go to the gym to see people, or make some phone calls and get together with friends. So at least I know the prompting that I need to address my mental well-being. And we can go through life not knowing this information and wonder, why am I sad? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling, quote unquote, useless? Because I'm not using my strengths, or I'm using the things that drain me. And that's what my job has always been, because it was the one that paid the most money at the time, or is where I fell into this career, but I'm not being aligned. So I think for the Golden Babes population is that maybe throughout lives, women have not been lifted up using who they are enough. And they have fallen into roles that they felt they needed to be, family first, where they focused on the family and not themselves. And maybe now at 55 plus is that time to focus on themselves, focus on mental strength, and then put a plan into action for applying those strengths. So it opens up a whole opportunity of understanding who you are, and not who you think you are. Because when you look at the assessments, 90% of the people I work with, almost 100, will say, yeah, that's me. I'm not going to refute what I'm seeing. It's like, yeah, I know this, I viscerally feel this. This is me. This provides some answers as to, how I have been operating in life, maybe not optimally, and then going forward, how I can then optimally go through and navigate life.
Well, Tom, what I see and what I hear and what I feel, and I know personally from the women that I talk to, is many of them they just give up. They've lost their looks, the family's gone, and maybe they've got some financial struggles, whatever it is. Their body is now not what it used to be or what it looks like. Nobody looks at them anymore. They become invisible. They've lost their hair. They've got the wrinkles. Maybe they're losing their teeth. And most importantly, they've lost their friends. So now they sit at home. They're retired. They were going to take that trip. Not going to do that anymore. They were going to do this. They become so obsessed with this depression, and it's not it's very slight, it's very small, and all we want to do is be able to say, you don't have to do this, you have an option here. First off, find out what's wrong here, find out what are you thinking, what makes you tick, what's going on. And I'm so passionate about building this mental strength because nobody's focusing on it. You've got apps about, well, get activity, go exercise, do all this, but it's not a peer to peer. It's not a let's see what's in here, let's see what's in here, let's see how we can connect the two, and let's help others by sharing about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So it's just a perfect venue. So I'm just absolutely thrilled with it. So any last thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, I think the last thing to say is we've talked about personality and strengths, and the next is then how you interact with the world. And this is the synchronicity piece. When meaningful coincidences come into your life, how can you draw more of those into your life, given who you are? So if I say, okay, Kathy, every morning sit and meditate for 2 hours or an hour every morning, and when you do that, you are going to see the connections in your life, and you're going to see how synchronicity works. Well, that might work very well for one person. Someone else who needs to be active, who needs to be engaging with other people, who maybe have to be involved with their vocation or their hobby, painting, writing, music, whatever it might be. Because you know more about yourself, I'm going to say, you know what, I can't sit and meditate for an hour, but I can go out for a walk for an hour and be with people or be with dogs or whatever that might be. At that point, you create the environment, the venue, to cultivate and enhance more of these synchronicity opportunities. And when you know better about yourself, what are those things in life that I need that are going to help fuel me and bring me to the place, the goals, or what I look for in the future? When you open yourselves up to that, knowing who you are and what's going to better feed you, those things and those opportunities, those people, places are going to come to your life. So the third assessment it's called the Synchronicity Activation Assessment. And the cool thing about this is that you may start in one area, and I don't want to give away too much, but it basically shows kind of an openness to this stuff. And someone who can be very extreme on one side, that I control everything is analytical, everything is logical, this is how life is. When you can maybe open yourself up a little bit more, and the assessment can kind of show where that is, you can always learn to be more open. And there, in all of my research and all of my work, when I was writing and doing this work, I always kind of straddled the secular and the sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And part of academia is kind of being, I invite everyone to however you defined a divine being. And you can say synchronicity, well, it's the divine who's creating this for you. And so but that's what I invite people to, however you define a higher being, God, a divine being, higher power, that's up to you and your personal relationship with faith. But it's kind of, doing these three assessments opens you up to knowing more about yourself and how you can interact and receive in the world.
I am so excited. Now that you had mentioned that, I want to share with everyone how having this assessment has allowed me to improve myself in so many areas and be aware of what's going on. So I wanted to share. Last year I was in the hospital with COVID pneumonia. I was in ICU for 2.5 weeks, and then I ended up with a stroke. And when I got out, I ended up having long COVID. I lost 80% of my hair, and I put on 40 pounds because of the steroids and how it affected my pancreas. Tom, if anybody was going to be depressed, it was going to be me.
Yeah.
And think about the synchronicities in my life and the manifestations and the things that were going on. So I had to take the bull by the horns, and I had to realize, um, if I can't go out to the world, I'm going to bring the world to me. But I have to be happy with who I am at the moment. I was afraid to go on a broadcast or anything because I didn't want anybody to see me. But the real truth is that they already have seen me. I just didn't know how they saw me. So I decided I'm going to look in the mirror, full length mirror, totally naked. Oh God. and and I I noticed that my rheumatoid arthritis, my knees are like knock-kneed now, so they're really bad. And then I got lymphedema on my knees, so everything. And I'm looking. Took me 4 days before I could actually look at myself, and then take a rear view mirror and look at myself from the behind. And lo and behold, after 4 days of doing my meditation, of identifying with myself, talking to my higher power, etc., I was able to look in the mirror and, ooh la la, this is who I am. And then these are my bat wings, and this is my fat, and this is what I have. And it was like, okay. And then I was happy with who I was, because that's what we do. We have to love ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that particular portion of it, I don't know that I would have been able to do that if I had not been grounded in what my strengths were. And I think I am grounded in what they are right now, and I value them and I protect them, but I openly give out my strengths to those that I see that need them. And that's one of the values of doing these assessments, is when you have that knowledge. Isn't knowledge power when it comes to things like this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And it's just, we're given strengths in life. And if you want to refer to the Bible, throughout the Bible, we are all given strengths, and we're not to squander them. However we come as a human being, we're put on this earth to do something.
Mhm.
And again, no matter your faith focus or your understanding of the higher power, you have strengths, and you are here to share those and to help and serve others using those strengths, and not to squander them, and not to waste them, and not to see them as a very useful vehicle for helping others. That's the kind of a bottom line approach. But think about it, you're here to use your strengths, and with this assessments and the discussions, we can help bring those to the forefront, better understanding.
Okay, well, for everyone that is interested, the Golden Genius Assessment will be available, hopefully by the first part of next week. When Tom gives us the link, then go ahead, then it'll be available. So I put a link to the website in the chat right now. So those that are interested, please feel free to check it out. And again, it'll be available then. So I want to thank you, Tom, for being with us today. I think we've got something really special going on here. I really do.
Yeah. I think it's all about empowering people, and for people to feel ready to take that step to do the next great thing in their lives. And I think with the Golden Genius is a great way to focus on that for folks maybe who have never understood who they really are, the strengths they possess, and then help them to go forth and do some great things.
Okay. All right. Thank you,
Kathy.
everyone. Thanks.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.